welcome to My Voices Have Tourette's, and that's why we fought so you don't have to. My name is Dan Zarin. Let's get started here. So today's episode is brought to you by Gamesel Studio, where we are recording, The Secret Cellar, Iceland's first and only comedy club, and Smári's Volcano Sauce is the greatest hot sauces I've ever had in my entire life. But let's get to this. So today I am joined by three incredible people, but starting with my co-host, Þórhallur Þórhallsson.
Hey, how are you, man?
It's like I never get you on this podcast.
I know. I'm pretty sick of myself right now.
I know. And look, the listeners are probably sick of me going, it's like I never get you on this podcast.
I know. It's the same joke every episode.
Same joke every goddamn time. Same guest every goddamn time. This podcast just never changes. Anyway, so, but it's good to see you.
Are you going to squeak next? Is that what a surprise, you know?
I'm trying not to. There it is. Okay. Drink. Well, and joining us, we got two amazing people. One of them is Stefnir Benediktsson.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, and the other one is Jessica LoMonaco.
Hello.
Hey.
All right. So before we got started here, just to kind of cue the listeners in here, we just I think it was Jess that decided, or you, Þórhallur, that decided. Boy, one of you guys decided to make a drinking game out of every time that my voice cracks.
Yeah.
So we may have at the end of this episode, if someone wants to do tallies, just to see, and then at the end of it, just like so the grand total was 4,265,000.
Yes.
We'll see.
In 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Enough to kill a cow. So it is one shot of Lanti.
Oh,
come on.
What?
That's going to kill all of us.
Lanti
Icelandic
is
moonshine.
the Icelandic moonshine.
No, fuck that.
Yeah.
No, I'll go for my glitter booze. I have booze that has glitter in it. It's the greatest thing. It's awful.
You have glittery booze.
Yeah, it's booze that has edible glitter in it. It's raspberry flavored. It's horrible.
Why do I feel like Stefnir should drink that all the time?
I mean, I'm already intrigued.
Well, my question is, why did you have to stress the fact that it's edible glitter? I mean, shouldn't it be edible anyway?
I mean, not all glitter is edible.
Oh. Yeah, but I hope the one that they put in the bottle.
Since it's edible, I'm assuming it's safer for the environment. That's the angle we're going for. There was a big discussion in the burlesque scene, actually, of environmentally friendly glitter.
These are the things you have to think about.
Well, to be fair, as a person who co-owns a business downtown Reykjavik, every single year for Pride, I'm one of the people that has to clean up the goddamn glitter off of our front. So I realized wording that as cleaning it off of our front, that's not how I wanted to word it. Cleaning it out front of our building. I would like environmentally friendly confetti. Yeah. Cafefe. Yeah. I don't know why I almost said cafefe, but we're gonna go with it. We're just gonna roll with it. But anyway, but it's good to have you guys here. Actually, I am curious though. What is the glittery alcohol called?
Corkies.
Cork. I do know that one actually. Yeah, they have like green, pink, and they have like a yellowish color.
Yeah, I have the pink one. That's all I know, because you can mix it with like seltzer soda water. And it's really pretty.
I did so from a friend of mine is a brony. So he's really into My Little Pony. And for his birthday one year, I was bartending at the bar that he had his party at, and I made him. I think his Rainbow Dash is one of the ponies. I made him a Rainbow Dash shot, which was basically all of the corkies that we had, the different colors, and they were layered.
Oh, nice.
Now, that must have been amazing.
Oh, it was sugary as fuck. Imagine just like I think the joke of the night was it was basically diabetes in a glass. It just you tasted it and you're just like, some part of me is about to fail.
But do you like digest the glitter, or does it, when you're yeah? So you have glitter pee.
Glitter pee.
I've never checked.
Here's an interesting
You should
question.
always check.
What's that?
Once had glitter pee after one of those pride things.
Did you?
Nice.
That sounds appropriate.
That sounds painful.
Well, my question is, which would alarm you more, a glitter pee or a glitter poop?
Glitter
Glitter
pee.
poop, I think. Yeah, glitter pee. Glitter poop, I think, is benign.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because I feel like if I saw glitter in my poop, I'd be like, I just ingested something weird.
Yeah.
But if I saw glitter in my pee, I'd be like, either I am a mutant and about to get some superpowers, or I should see a doctor right away.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah.
Preschool, glitter poop would not alarm me.
That's yeah. I mean, and I'm guessing every parent has at least seen that once in their life.
Yeah, I think the most interesting was I tend to get really ambitious with my kids' birthdays because ever since I moved to Iceland and can't get a Carvel ice cream cake, I've been baking them cakes every year. So for the last 5 years, the trend has been rainbow cakes.
Ah,
And let me tell you, that shit is like... Yeah, it's interesting.
So it's
to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just pooping, gay pride,
Yeah.
The rainbow,
This might be the greatest for like opening 10 minutes of any episode that we have done so far. Just like, I mean, going back downstairs after this, and just being like, people be like, so what did you do the episode about? Glitter. Oh, that doesn't sound so bad. Yeah, but it was glitter, pee, and poop. Ah, okay.
Of course you went there. Yeah.
Was Þórhallur in the episode? Yes, he was.
Oh, yeah.
We went there in like 30 seconds flat.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah, it didn't just escalate very, very, very quickly. It evacuated
Just
very
right
quickly.
there.
It evacuated.
Glimmer.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess like what have you guys been up to? Jess, I understand you have the kids.
Yep. I'm working. I have kids. All kinds of stuff. I'm corrupting the youth.
You're corrupting the youth with glitter.
Yes.
One glitter bomb at a time.
One glitter bomb at a time.
Yeah, because you messaged us before. You're like, I might be a few minutes late because it's a bit hectic here with the kids. What do you mean by hectic, and what do you mean by kids?
I have 2 children.
Okay,
so
that's a
that
good
would
start.
be kids. And hectic because I have them every other week. So today's the first day everyone's back to school at my place and all that. And I had to get gas in my car. We still don't have dinner sorted. So life as usual.
So let me get
Sounds
this
about right.
So let me get this straight. So you don't have dinner sorted, and you're doing a podcast.
Mother of the year.
Fair enough. I love it.
At least he's talking about important stuff.
Yeah, I know. Pee and poop. Let's do it. I really, like, a part of me really hopes that this conversation inspires your dinner.
I mean, like, this is the kind of conversation I'd be having with my kids anyway. This is really not that far from usual conversation for me.
Yeah, I know. I actually don't understand, like, when people are like talking about how they can't talk about this kind of stuff during dinner time. Like, they're like, we can't talk about gross stuff during dinner time. And I'm like, all right, first of all, I grew up on like going to my friend's house, and his dad just talked about all this stuff during dinner, and that's only when he talked about it. But also, it's like, I mean, the group that we are, what else are we going to talk about during dinner?
Yeah. Yep. I remember growing up, my family always had the habit, because if I wasn't at dinner as soon as everyone sat down, somehow by the time I sat down, it was a shit conversation, like literal conversation about shit. So it's like I sit down and suddenly everyone's talking about constipation. So this is normal for me.
Speaking of normal, and actually, like, I know with our group, speaking of normal, oh no, but. Because I've noticed in America, it's very common when people sit down for like a family dinner, everyone waits until everyone's at the table and then they start eating. But in Iceland, it's like the opposite. It's like the first one that sits down finishes first because they just sit down and start eating, and then everyone, like, by one gets to the table, they eat, and then they just all leave.
You snooze, you lose, man.
You snooze, you lose.
Exactly. We got to get back to work.
I gotta get back to work. What do each of you do? Because I like to wait for people.
Yeah, I like to wait for people too, but I eat a lot. So usually when we start at the same time, I'm eating like in half an hour after everybody's left. So I like to get my, early start so that
first
we
dinner.
end about the same time.
It's like the hobbits. You have the first dinner.
Exactly.
And then they get there and you have the second dinner. I gotcha.
Exactly right.
What about you, Jess? How was it back in Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn, well, we had the kids table and the grown-ups table. So the grown-ups always got to go first and the kids had to wait. And we had our own separate table because the grown-ups were probably drunk by the time the kids got to go.
Fair.
So, what's that?
I said
Good
fair.
times.
Oh, good times. Yeah.
Yeah. So we would eat second. But it would be like everyone went and got their food at the same time and then would sit down together. So all the kids would sit down and eat together. But all the grown-ups were already done eating in the kitchen when the kids were eating on the card table in the living room.
So
I see.
All the kids? Are you Catholic or?
Yeah, my dad's Catholic.
There you
ready
go.
for the worst joke in the world, guys?
Uh-oh.
This is the absolute worst thing you're going to hear
Whip
today.
it out.
So my dad's side's Catholic and my mom's side's Jewish. So do you know what that makes me?
What?
You're going to hate me. A cashew.
Wow. That was a Dan joke.
You know,
I had someone say that to me, and I've been saying it again ever since.
we have had one episode so far where one person left before the episode recording was done.
Yeah.
This may be the record for a person getting kicked out of a conversation.
Yes.
No, I'm joking. Actually, that is hilarious. I love a good wordplay.
Yeah.
I love a good word. I actually just wrote. I wrote a new wordplay joke. Because Alex, my girlfriend, accidentally hit me in the head with a frying pan.
As one does.
As one. Yeah. Well, she claims it was an accident, but it's COVID times, and I have life insurance. You do the math. But the thing is. But the thing is, like, because I got hit in the head with a frying pan, and my first thought was, hey, maybe I don't have, still have Tourette's. And and so I thought at that time, that's when my girlfriend goes, well, it was worth a fry.
Dan, can you kick yourself off of this podcast?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. The host is leaving. You guys just take over. No, but how many kids are in your family though?
So out of direct cousins related to me, there were 4, 6, 7, 8. There were 10 of us that were first cousins. But since it was an Italian American Catholic family, we had aunts and uncles who weren't blood related. So there were at least another 15 added on top of that for holidays. Like, I still don't know parts of my family tree because everyone was just aunt and uncle.
I see.
Right,
See,
that's a little confusing. Everybody here is aunt and uncle or cousin, in the country.
Yeah, but you're like thrilled on how you're connected. We don't have that handy app like you guys have here.
See, but you were talking about that they're Italian Americans, and I thought you were going to follow that up with, so each of us had 10 kids of our own.
So far, I am the biggest baby producer of all of my cousins.
and you've had 2.
Yeah.
How old are they now?
8 and 6.
8 and 6. All right. And Stefnir, you have kids.
Yeah, I have kids.
You found them.
Yeah. I have a 23-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Nice.
Thought you were going to say a 45-year-old.
45-year-old.
Yeah, almost. I have one grandkid and another one on the way. So.
Wow. And congrats on the second one on the way.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Double grandpa.
Do you think that's ever happened where someone has adopted someone older than them?
Well, I don't know.
I don't think that's. I don't think that's ever happened. 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 I don't think that's ever
No.
Don't you have to be 18 to adopt someone, and then you can't adopt someone who's over 18?
I was actually just reading yesterday about in the States, a girl who was 22 being adopted so that she could still be considered under the foster care system. So apparently it's possible.
All right.
Okay.
So there's exceptions, is what you're saying.
I don't know the details.
No, spit them out. You know all the details. You are the expert. We want to know now.
On this, clearly.
Because Þórhallur has some kids that he needs to adopt.
Yeah.
And
who are older than him.
Yeah.
They're all older than him. He's just tired of being friends with them. He just wants them to be his kids.
Yeah. Basically.
This is the strangest conversation we have ever had on this. I don't even know if it's just this podcast. Yeah. We have had some strange conversations. Oh, this is one of the strangest.
I think it's the...
Oh, how can we make it stranger? Come on. Let's go strange.
Can we make it stranger? All right. So, wait, hold on. I can do this. Do it. One of the kids that you are adopting has 2 nephews.
Okay.
And one of those nephews is not human.
What?
Not human.
I think this has gone in a strange direction that I don't even know if I want to continue.
Are they aliens or like dogs? Like, what are we talking here, though?
Yes.
Alien dogs.
Alien dogs.
They are whatever you want them to be.
All right.
The Ricky Morty dog with the helmet that can talk for him.
Yes.
Wow, this is strange.
All right. Well, let's move on. I do have one topic I want to talk about today, and it's this. So this episode was actually starting now. Not everything before this, but this episode is kind of inspired by an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There was an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine where Captain Holt, who is the president of an organization that supports gay and black detectives or police officers, and called the Aglynic Paw. I'm not going to say the actual title. I can't remember. But and there's a member of it that wants to run for president, and Captain Holt is talking to Gina about the fact that this guy never fought for anything. Like, he never fought for the rights of gay people in general or police officers. He never fought for anything. He never had to. So why should he be president? And Gina said, well, wasn't that what you created the organization for? Was so these people don't have to fight. And I've heard this topic in episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race, and I've noticed it in the mental health and neurodiverse communities as well, is that idea of people fight so hard and then they actually see what that fighting has done, and it's weird, and they feel like it almost like they didn't fight for it, so why do they deserve it?
Yeah.
Type thing, even though that sounds really weird. And I'm wondering what you guys think about this, because I've noticed it is a strange feeling when you actually start hearing that people don't have to suffer the way you did, you know?
Yeah, well, I have a niece who used to be a nephew, and she's transitioning now at the age of 5. Okay. So she's trans, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't identify as of any gender, so I didn't have my parents' support. I didn't have the societal support that she does. I didn't have any kind of support, really. Well, and my mom and dad, they sort of figured that they would shield me from society and that sort of thing. So when I wanted to wear dresses and when I wanted to be feminine, so to speak, they would just say, yeah, you can do that at the house, but you can't go to kindergarten or school dressed as a girl. So I'm seeing now that she has a way easier time being herself, and for me, it's amazing. I mean, to see that someone is getting all this support, but it's still a struggle, because some people are prejudicial and it's still a struggle, but it's. She doesn't have to go through all I had to go through, years of therapy and all of that stuff. So she can start her life now.
Right.
Instead of continuously waiting for her real life to begin.
Well, and she's lucky that she's got you around to to be supportive of that. So she does, like you said, doesn't have to go through what you went through.
Right. I think it's just kind of mind-boggling to think about what does it look like for a generation to not have to fight.
Right.
Like so many issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis are because either we or a generation before us fought for it, but we're making it easier for the next generation. So what's that going to look like? Like, what are their hurdles going to be in a sense?
I mean, I'm just wondering, like, what is the Reykjavik Fringe going to be like? Well, when people don't have to stress about getting it set up and organized and everything, because Jess and Nanda are fighting so hard for them. No, but no,
once we're city funded and everything's easy.
What are you going to do when they're not on the fringes anymore?
But that's an interesting point. Like, what is that generation even gonna look like? Because I was also thinking with this kind of talk, like, I came out as bisexual at the start of last year, and just actually, wow, 2 years ago now, because it was the start of 2019. Sorry, and I remember thinking it was so strange that it was so easy for me because I came out and like there wasn't a single person that wasn't supportive. There wasn't a single person that like, shunned me for it. Everyone was just like, dude, congratulations. I'm happy for you. I never had to go through what I hear countless stories of people having to go through.
Right. I did that. A similar thing when I came out as what the hell do you call it?
You came out as Stefnir.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the terminology, but everybody sort of turns me on.
I relate to that.
Right. I don't know what it's, pansexual maybe.
Yeah,
maybe that's the thing. But when I came out to some of my friends got furious.
Okay.
We've been working out together, dude. We've been taking showers together, dude. What the fuck? Like I was. Really? I don't know.
That's weird.
That was like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
something like that.
And
I had a really interesting, I overheard a really interesting conversation with my kids. So with all the Harry Potter stuff coming up with J.K. Rowling being, a transphobic twat, my daughter is obsessed with Harry Potter. And I didn't want to buy her anything for Christmas that was Harry Potter because I don't want to give this person my money.
Right.
So we've been having a lot of discussions about transphobia, all kinds of different things. So the other day, her and her brother and stepbrother were playing Jurassic Park together. And my son goes, yeah, I have an egg. And my daughter asks, oh, so are you a girl? And he goes, no, I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. She goes, okay, cool. You're trans. And they just kept going. And that was the end of that. And it was just such a natural part of it. And I was not in the room for it. I overheard it and I was just like, holy shit, I did something good.
Well done.
But that's the why. Like, what do you guys think because like we were talking about, like, what is the next generation even going to look like? I mean, if we look at the way things are already starting to go, where things like this are happening, I mean, what do we think the next generation is going to look like? Do you think it is going to be just people just like, because I mean, I'll be honest, like, as much as I want to see an end to bullying, it's going to be a while before that ends.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, I almost can't I almost can't see a world without it. Almost because of how maybe because of how intense it was, like, that I saw when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I just can't picture a world without that, but I want it so bad to be gone.
Well, people are never going to be perfect, so there are always going to be some people that have, jealousy or envy or just don't understand each other. So there's always going to be some conflict, of course. So
right.
The sad thing about it is that it's often in waves. So with bullying, sometimes when we're in a recession or something, prejudice rises, like you've seen in the States now with the rioting and the neo-Nazism and all the blatant racism that's there now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it comes from difficult economical situations and, all sorts of stuff like that. Women's rights have gone up and down for the same reason. So we might see the curve move downwards again. Right. So we have to be vigilant. We have to really look out for minorities and anybody who is in a less privileged situation. We have to constantly check our privilege and always be mindful of what we might be doing unbeknownst to ourselves or that sort of thing. So
I think a number,
even though things are getting better.
Yeah.
I think a number of systems have to break before we see any improvement. So I did my bachelor's thesis here in Iceland on bullying and how to deal with that using the arts for teenagers. Okay. So a big problem in Iceland is that bullying is so very much seen as part of growing up. That it's a generational thing. So parents will tell their kids, you'll survive it. It'll be fine. But surviving is not thriving. And so what we're seeing is a bunch of older people who are still deeply entrenched in the leadership of schools. So we're talking principals, skólastjóri, all things like that, who are not willing to adapt things because they have in place the outline of an outdated program that doesn't work when you drop portions of the program. And due to time constraints, most of the important parts of it need to be dropped. Yeah. So they're hiding under this umbrella of, no, we've got the anti-bullying program in this school, but it's not being done correctly, so it's essentially useless from everything I've seen. And even when bullying cases make it into the news, the schools are not willing to do things about it. So it's a major issue. And I'm dealing with it both as a preschool teacher, because it starts in preschool, and teaching some kids to not be violent assholes from the age of 4. I had to teach a 4-year-old not to threaten his classmates. And that just blows my mind. How or why does a 4-year-old know to go up to a kid and hold his fist in their face? Yeah. And he doesn't have older siblings because everyone's, they've got older siblings. No, he's an only child. So, well, that's the interesting thing about bullying that I've always kind of thought of is thought I mean, if we replace bullying, if we get rid of bullying altogether, one thing that I think is just very, very important. No, regardless of of anything else, this is a topic that fits with this, is the fact that we need to teach kids how to not only be able to stand up for themselves and but not physically, but in a sense, fight for themselves and be happy with who they are and really, really stand by who they are. Because I was thinking with this topic of what would I have, how would my life have been different if I had the confidence, having Tourette syndrome, if I had the confidence in that when I was a kid. And I was just thinking every single person that made fun of me, I would have just had a more clever quip to them. Yeah. It wouldn't have bugged me at all. Yeah,
sure. But we also have to make sure that all the kids feel good about themselves, because often bullies come from an environment where they're not safe, where they're in. They're not maybe in physical danger, but they're in emotional danger. Oh, yeah. And they lash out. And in order to not feel bad themselves, they make someone else feel bad. So we need to focus on the doer, as well as the one being bullied. And we can't just say, why don't you fight for yourself, to the victim. Because when you're a victim, that's just victim shaming.
Yeah, well, and it's also that thing of whenever someone watches a horror movie and they're just why aren't they running? Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? When you really think about it, I mean, that's just how people would react, because they're scared. I mean, they're terrified. Yeah. So you've got and you got to factor that into, well, like why is the victim not standing up for themselves? They're scared of, maybe they're just frozen. They can't do anything because of that fear. So what, like to push so hard on someone to stand up for themselves, I think it's more important to just try to figure out ways of teaching them rather than pushing them, because I've noticed, like, one of the issues I see with a lot of people in the millennial generation in general is the fact that like we never learned how to do certain things because a lot of us, had parents that did a lot of the stuff for us. So there's a lot of things that we just simply never learned how to do. And of course, that's not the same for everyone. I can't generalize, everyone, but it is that thing of you can't expect people to do something just because you say, all right, do it this way.
I also think a lot of people are not taught how to communicate properly. They're taught to communicate socially and think of others' needs rather than learning how to communicate their own needs. So, like, for instance, right now I'm with a guy who has Tourette's, because I collect guys with Tourette's, sorry.
I know, we're like Pokemon.
This is the third guy with Tourette's. I'm trying to catch them all. Wow,
she's close to Alex status.
I think they're in a club.
Yeah, Alex is at 4.
Nice. But part of something that he's 40 years old and is just learning to communicate when he gets caught in a thought process that he can't break out of. So a conversation might be had about whatever, talking about colors, I don't know. And the subject will change naturally because people talk in very meandering ways. So the subject might have changed completely, but he's still on that previous conversation and can't tune into the next conversation because he's still having that other one and rolling it over in his mind. So he's only recently, like in the last year or two, learned to communicate with people and say, hey guys, I know we changed subjects, but because of the compulsion I'm having, I'm still stuck in this conversation. So I just wanted to say this point, and then I promise we can move on to something else. And I'm not mad at you because I'm so completely quiet right now. It's just that I needed to finish that conversation. And it's been really great to see. And I've heard such amazing feedback from our friends, just like, it's amazing that he knows to communicate that and can express his needs, because so much of what I feel our generation is brought up with has to do with not telling your needs, which then fucks us over in every kind of relationship, whether it's romantic, friends, work, family. We're taught to not say our needs and then hope that we get them anyway.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's something that changes and more awareness can make it more acceptable to say, hey, my brain is Tourette'sing right now. Gotta go through this. And then I'll change subjects, I promise.
It's also people with autism. I feel like this all the time, where I can't let something go. It's like an obsessive compulsive disorder, where the thought process just has to come out.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that because the communication, with communication being an issue already, how is it for, autistic people, with kind of like a communication barrier with a communication barrier? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say from the inside, because I can't see it from the outside. But I've often had like instances of where I notice when I'm talking to people that they seem to, become dismissive and stuff like that. And then I only recently figured out that that's because the subject matter was covered already, and I'm just sort of in a rut, going over the same stuff into more detail and more detail. Right. And it's already been covered. Everybody gets it already. But I just want to fight so hard to make sure that there's no misunderstanding, that I over-explain everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's a huge
I don't understand. Could you explain it to me more?
I was just going to say it's interesting because we've already covered all of this. You're just saying it a second time.
Had to be sticks, huh?
I like how.
Then we have to.
Just like I'm like looking at the screen like on the computer, and I see Þórhallur, and I just see his face going, oh, I'm gonna say something, and I'm like, I'm gonna say something.
I'm sorry,
but I wanna ask for each of you, because I mean I've kind of like I started this a little bit, but then I realized we didn't actually go anywhere with it. Like if when we were kids, when all of us were kids, if we had it the way that a lot of people have it today, where we didn't necessarily have to worry so much about who we are or what we have or all of that stuff, what is one thing that you think in your lives would be different today? Like if we didn't have to struggle, if we didn't have to fight.
I wouldn't have had to waste 25 years of my life self-medicating.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
drugs and booze and all of that crap.
By the way, again, you're getting what is it, a year and a half now that you're sober?
Since September 2019.
Right.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll have a drink now and then, but that was never an issue for me.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that, because you I mean your issue was always the self-medicating with weed, but you really weren't. I mean I've known you for years, and I remember like the most I've seen you drink was maybe like 3 or 4 beers.
Yeah. As soon as I start feeling intoxicated, I like that little warm fuzzy feeling that you get after like a couple of drinks. But as soon as I start feeling intoxicated, I just feel awful, and I want to go home. So that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I was gonna say on this, actually, before we get to the two of you about what you think would be different. No, with alcohol, actually, one thing to note, and this is actually the reason I've actually massively slowed down on how much I drink in general, is because when I get past the tipsy point, my Tourette starts getting worse. So I find like it gets like the squeak is fun. It's funny. I make jokes about it. It's light and breezy. You know, I mean, who doesn't love puberty? But the thing is that like when I start getting drunk, it gets so like it happens so frequently that I actually have a hard time finishing sentences. I can't get through sentences. I have a hard time even processing thoughts. Yeah. And I'm wondering, because Þórhallur, you've said like that one of the reasons that you drink is actually because it makes your anxiety less.
Oh, it just disappears.
It just disappears.
Yeah, and so
along with your pride.
Yeah.
You have pride to begin with.
Yeah. I know, right? Just when I'm drunk. But I mean, it comes and bites you in the ass the next day. So it like I have like no anxiety, and everything is so easy and clear. I was like, why am I like overthinking this and that? They're like, life is easy and good, and like, well, let's meet people. And you know, and then the next day I'm like, everything is horrible. Well,
you get hungover and just jump to all the worst conclusions.
Yes.
Just like, well, I'm dying now.
Yeah.
And it's also that thing of, it probably, I mean, I'm asking here, doesn't it affect your, you know, what did I say? And did I do something inappropriate? Did I, what happened?
Yeah, you start to, you know, you go over the whole night and every conversation and like, oh, did I say something to offend somebody, or did I do that? Yeah, so, well, so, yeah.
Did I forget to book the venue for Fringe? Did we get the fish tank they wanted? Did I leave my kids in the tent? No, they're still just doing rotations over and over again.
Yeah, and you just start to think. You start to think to yourself like, no more glimmer booze for me.
No more glitter booze. I thought you said glitter boobs at first. No, I was like, okay, we can have. Yeah.
Never say no to that.
I like how you just stop yourself. You're like, no, I would never say no to that.
Always say yes to glitter boobs.
Yes, I agree.
But that whole thing that we touched on earlier with, see, now I can't let a thought go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it happens all the time. But that thing we talked about earlier about how we fought for things and our parents fought for things and grandparents fought for things. I don't think we're ever going to stop fighting for things, because now we look at things that our parents thought was normal and go, oh my God, I can't believe that was a thing.
Right.
Like whatever, like beating kids. That used to be one of those ways to raise kids, that, you had to be stern and beat your kids a little, So when our kids have kids and they're talking about, oh my God, I can't believe dogs couldn't vote, or whatever it is.
Oh my goodness! Could you imagine that being a problem in the year 2085? People being like, wait, there was a time when animals couldn't talk?
Right?
I think a really interesting thing with that, because so I'm going to jump in with my answer.
Who'd you drink with?
You asked us all, and I'm a guest. So I think it's very interesting because now my kids get to inherit different things than I grew up with. So I think because my family had to fight so hard, well, my mom, because the rest of my family was just batshit crazy. So my kids will inherit my anxiety, but they're less likely to inherit my PTSD because we've been able to change things.
Right.
So I'm no longer, if someone had taught the people around me to understand what anxiety is, I might have had a much more comfortable teenage years instead of believing that, it's normal to not feel like you can take a full breath at all times, and not knowing that that was just a symptom of anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I had asthma. I thought something was wrong with me. At some point, I thought I had cancer and was dying because no matter how deep I would breathe, it didn't hit the bottom of my lungs.
Yeah.
And that would just escalate it more and more. So I would have panic attacks and not be able to communicate with anyone because no one would understand what I was saying. And it was really tough. So at least that I can now recognize and communicate with my daughter about, especially because she's got anxiety. And watching an 8-year-old have a panic attack is fucking awful.
Oh, yeah. So for you, a lot of it was getting the information.
Yeah. And learning like, hey, that's not just me being fucked up. Well, okay, it is me being fucked up.
I mean, let's get real.
It's not only me.
Yeah. No, it's so much better when things have a name and you just know, oh, other people have experienced this. I'm not the only one, and just get the information that you're basically not alone and in your troubles.
And then as soon as you have a name to it as well, you can as you say, not be alone in it. And then you can ask people for advice. You can check out the literature that's available. And as you said, Jess, you can provide your kids with tools that will be instrumental in helping them deal with their shit. Because, neural nets are inherited, and a lot of people call them brains. The structure of them, the structure of your neural net is definitely something that you pass on to your kids. So there's a lot of mental disorders and other types of disorders and syndromes that your kids will maybe inherit. And now you have the tools for them to deal with it.
If you ever want to read a book that'll fuck you up and blow your mind at the same time, I highly recommend the book called The Body Keeps the Score. I forgot his name is Bessel van der Kolk. Okay. And it's this amazing book about how trauma is turned, like not physical trauma, but psychological and mental trauma is turned into a part of your body, and then how it can continue on generationally. And it talks about a lot of alternative approaches to dealing with trauma and PTSD. So it was a real eye-opener for me. It's a fucking fantastic book. And then goes into things like, instead of just medicating someone till they're in a constant sedated, out of it state of being work with their brains in other ways. So it goes into like EDMR. They talk about Vietnam vets who were in like trials for shrooms and stuff to help deal with their traumas, to relive things in a safer environment so that they're not having constant flashbacks. It goes into yoga and arts therapies. So it's a really... It really opened my eyes to like, shit, these are all symptoms of trauma. And I never realized it. And that it could very well have been physically passed down from my mom, because when we have a traumatic experience, our brains rewire to compensate and function in a certain way. So when we have kids, that different path can be handed down. Yeah. So instead of a normal brain, your kids can inherit that broken pathway that you had to break in order to deal with a trauma. So even if the child has never dealt with a traumatic experience in their life, there's a chance that they might still have the effects of it. Right. So it's really interesting and terrifying and mind-blowing stuff. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, if anyone listening out there wants the full title, it's The Body Keeps the Score: Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing and of Trauma, and it's by Bessel van der Kolk.
He sounds like a know-it-all.
I was gonna try.
The name is kind of like a
See, I was hoping I was gonna like secretly find the full name, and then Jess was gonna go, "Oh, did you read it?" And I was gonna go, "No, I have Google."
No, this is really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and we'll have a link to that on our socials if anyone wants to check out that book. We are getting close to the end of the episode here, but I realized, Þórhallur, we didn't get your thing. Like, what do you think would be different?
Who cares about my thing?
Okay, fair enough. So moving on. No, well, what is one thing you think might be different in your life if you never had to go through what you did when you were a kid?
I mean, I didn't know what I was going through. As a kid, I didn't know it was anxiety. I just thought I was really, really weird and something really, really wrong with me, which it was, of course. And I mean, remember, like we were talking about having a name for something. I remember when I was a kid, and if I would be crying, I would get what we call here in Iceland an ekkasog.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know what's that called. What it's called in English, but
gasping.
Gasping, yeah.
Just gasping. Okay.
I was trying to make a joke and say breathing, but yeah, that's actually a more appropriate.
No, but it's like it's difficult breathing while you're crying, and I was like, and I did like that, and I kind of confided in my brother, my older brother. I was like, I gotta tell you something. I'm probably like 4 or 5, and I'm like, there's something wrong with me. Like when I cry, I do, and he's like, yeah, it's called ekkasog. And he's told me this story afterwards. He's like, there was like a light, like just went on, and you like, it has a name. I'm like, I'm not the only. I thought I was the weirdest human being on earth doing the, you know, but it had a name, and it felt so good just to have a name for it. And of course, because of my oldest brother, he has anxiety, he has everything. So he really could.
Your brother is Stefnir?
Yeah, I adopted him as a brother.
Just doing rotations back to the beginning here.
No, but my brother kind of like explained to me, you're having anxiety. This is anxiety. I was like, oh, okay. So I mean, but yeah, how? I mean, I don't know if it would have changed. You know.
So it's like with Jess. For you, it would have been the having access to the information.
Yeah.
I gotcha. All right. Well, before we get going, I want to play one quick game before we go, because I played this in one of the last episodes, Tourette Sandwich, which very proud of that name. But all right. So the game is, and it'll vary for each of you. But if you know the button question, well, like if you can push a button and you'll get $1 million, but someone somewhere in the world will die. So the variant is that if you push the button, someone somewhere in the world, you have no idea who they are, you have no way of knowing, but someone will get every disorder that you have. Would you do it?
For what?
For $1 million.
Yes.
Like, would
Are
you
we allowed to help said theoretical person?
No, you are. You have no idea who it is, but you just you'll get $1 million, but some random person on the planet will get every disorder that you have.
Yes.
You would push it 10 times.
Yeah, I need money. I need money right now.
You would push it and be like, is there another one to kill people? Can I get that one too? Can I double it?
I don't think it's working. I'm pushing it again and again and again.
And then you'd get anxiety like, wait, is it not working?
Oh, I think I got it. I got the anxiety. No, I actually, of course I'm joking. I think I couldn't do that to another person to feel like I feel sometimes. No.
What do you guys think?
Maybe if I can know the person, I can maybe give them $100,000 or something.
100,000. You're so kind. You get $1 million. I'm giving you this bullshit, but here's 100,000.
Here's some for your meditation.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. If I could pay for their treatment and that sort of thing, and, because that can't amount to $1 million. I'd still come out in plus, So.
Yeah, like if you could just, because if you could know who the person is, then you could just be like, hey, 50-50.
Wow, 50-50, come on.
Hey,
50-50, I'll teach you how to breathe and we'll be good.
Hey, I'm just saying 500,000 is still a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
500,000.
I'd have to go 60-40 because I've been living with this for 40 years. They get less than me.
This is
That's
a good
true.
point.
I think
80-20.
you would go 99-1.
Yeah.
You would give them. You wouldn't even give them a penny. You'd give them 1 krona.
No, I would give them I would buy them that book.
No. Do you think?
$99. You too can have anxiety and PTSD.
That's your book. Then comes the question: What if it was like the movie It Follows, and it's like you push the button, but then they get the button, so it just continuously gets passed on.
Yeah. Well, that's
like a Doctor Who episode.
Jess, would you be able to do it though?
I'd be able to, and I think I'd choose not to.
Okay, so you would choose not to push the button.
Yeah, because right now, I'm not rolling in cash or anything, but I'm making it, which is better than I ever expected. Because, I, for many years, was just a kept woman. I was married for 10 years to a guy who worked in computers. It was easy, and I didn't have to think about money. So now that I'm actually on my own doing it myself, it's not proving impossible yet, and I'm sure I just jinxed myself. But
come on, just push the button. Push the button.
Just push the button.
Just push the button.
Last question, and then we'll have to end this. But Jess, or Stepnir, would either of you trade your kids for $2 million?
No.
I was really hoping one of you was
would come back. My daughter would hunt me down and behead me if I ever tried something like that.
I was really hoping one of you would say, I'd trade one of them for a hamburger. But you didn't fall for it.
No,
so
my daughter cooks now. All I have to do is say, hey, go cook me a hamburger, and she'll probably do it.
Oh, okay. So that's what kids are for.
You have kids.
That's why you have kids, for slave labor. Okay.
Now I get it.
Keep manual labor, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
I'm gonna go and have kids now.
On the topic of child labor, I guess. We are down to the end of our episode. First of all, thank you, Þórhallur, for being the co-host, and thank you, Jess and Stepnir, for being our guests.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you to the listeners out there for listening. If you want to find out more information about the show, check out our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. On Facebook and Instagram, we're My Voices Have Tourette's. On Twitter, we're MVHT Show. And you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter now. I just got a Twitter last night, and TikTok at Dan Zarin Comedy. You can find.
You shouldn't have gone on Twitter.
I shouldn't have, but Donald Trump was banned, so I figured, what the hell. Now it's a good place to be.
It's a little less evil place now, but
exactly. Þórhallur, where can the listeners find out about you?
You can just come and visit me here home. I love meeting new people. And,
Liar!
Global pandemic, what?
No, I'm on Instagram, Þórhallur with 2 L's, 83.
And you have TikTok.
Yeah, Þórhallur 83.
And Stefnir, where can people find out about you?
I'm on some of the social media. It's usually just under my name, Stefnir Benediktsson. I'm the only one out there, so I should be easy to find.
Yeah.
Sounds like grandpa.
And Jess, where can people find out about you and the Fringe Festival, since it's going to be coming up before we know it?
Yep. Applications are actually open, so if anyone is listening and wants to be part of the Fringe Festival, please apply. You can apply for 8 different Fringe Festivals in one go on one application. Check out our website at rvkfringe.is. There's info about me, about Nana, about all the wonderful people. I'm sure there are pictures of Dan, Þórhallur, and Stefnir up there. And yeah, otherwise I'm just me on Facebook, and I don't post much exciting things.
And if anyone is interested, we actually have a button that you can push to be automatically.
$10 million?
No, they'll get automatically accepted to Fringe, but someone somewhere in the world will have to run a Fringe, organize it themselves.
And I press that button first.
No help. They have to do it on their own. But anyway.
Yeah.
Also, if you want, we also have a website for my voice at Tourette's at mvhtshow.com. If you ever have any topics or questions for the podcast, or you want to be on the podcast, send us an email at info at mvhtshow.com. That's info at mvhtshow.com. And if you want to support the podcast, check out paypal.me/mvhtshow. This episode has been brought to you by Gamesless Studio, where we are recording, The Secret Cellar, Iceland's first and only comedy club, and Smouty's Volcano Sauces, the greatest hot sauces I've ever had in my entire life. If you are listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of such, feel free to like and subscribe to us and give us a review. If you like the podcast, give us a 5-star review. We do like the reviews. If you hated us, give us a 1-star review and tell us why. Just tell us why you hated us, and we'll send Jess to kill you. We will
press a button.
We will press a button, and you will be the person that gets everything. You'll get everything that all of us have collective. Oh,
excellent.
No, but we do want to try to make this the best podcast that we can. So we will learn from every comment and criticism that we get. Other than that, thank you all so much for listening, and check out new episodes every Tuesday.